when we talk about the geometry of tactics, we want to look for pieces that are on the same file, rank, and diagonal. So I learned the concept of collinearity when I took a look at this study. It's the same as misalignment. Doesn't matter how we call it, the point is to see it. So here we have different moves to illustrate the point. Here maybe we can play bishop d2, attacking the queen and the king that are on the same diagonal. So that would be probably the best move. But there is other misalignment issues here. For example, you can play rook g3. Rook g3 attacks the king and skewers the knight. And now this opens up an attack on the rook as well. So another misalignment. And there is a third option. So for example, you can play rook to d5. It's going to be a double attack on the bishop and the king. Okay. In this example, we look for not only one, but two pieces that are on the same file or rank or diagonal. So let's look at the queen and the king that are on the same diagonal. And this wouldn't really matter if this rook wasn't aligned with our rook. So we can find a tactic here, which is bishop to b5. So bishop to b5 has to be, I mean, you can not move this queen. So this has to be met by taking the bishop. And now you can take back. So the queen still has to move. Once the queen takes, now you can go for this rook. And yeah, you just get a better position. So we have this position that is completely winning for white. The easiest way is to promote the pawn, and this one will come with check, so the king has to move. But there is something else you can do just to make it fancy. For example, I'm gonna erase these two. You can play knight to d4. So now you're also getting in the way of this diagonal. Once black promotes, it's not gonna come with check. So you have that tempo to promote your own pawn. And now one thing black can try is to give a check here. And once you move your king, you lose your knight. But now you can play queen a7, forcing this trade of queens because they're gonna land on the same diagonal. And once that happens, then you can promote this pawn and get another queen. So yeah, that's just a fancy way to show to win the game. But there is also some misalignment. First with the knight, that it doesn't come with tempo, and these three pieces are on the same diagonal, and now forcing the trade of queens. In this one, we're playing with black, and the rook takes on e5, which is a huge blunder. Please let me know in the comments what is the other variation that works. I'm gonna show you the best move, but there is other move that we can start with that also works. So here we can take the rook on e5, and once the queen takes back, now I want you to pay close attention to this one because it's undefended. So there's a different number of checks. For example, here, maybe on c1, also on a6. So strangely enough, we look for this diagonal. First, we give a check on a6. And now once the king moves, we're gonna put our queen in alignment to the king and also this queen. So yeah, now we have tactics. I hope you see the tactic by now, which is giving up this knight, forking the two pieces. So the knight has to take, the bishop has to take the knight, and now we can take the queen. So yeah, this is how that was the whole point of putting this queen on the same diagonal as the white queen. Okay, so the first thing is to look for pieces that are on the same file, rank, or diagonal. In this case, we have our bishop line up to the queen and our queen line up to the black king. So here black moves the knight, and we can start by playing knight to b5. And so the first thing is you cannot take because you lost this queen will be lost. Then the queen has to move somewhere. Let's say that the queen moves to d8. This is checkmate, right? This cannot happen because there is a pin. Now there is, let's say that the queen moves to b6. So you still play knight to d6. So again, this cannot happen, and black resign. But let's say they move here to d8. Now you can fork the pieces, the rook and the king, or you can even take the bishop. Anything is winning, so it's completely lost for black. So in this one we get queen b4, probably repositioning the queen, trying to attack this square. But now we have a misalignment issue, which is the queen and the rook on the same diagonal. So we can easily play bishop to c5. And yeah, there is no way to save the two pieces. Once the queen moves, you can take this rook, and it's a better position for black. So we look at the relationships of the pieces, in this case, queen and rook that are on the same file, as well as the queen and king. So this is a more important relationship, right? They're protecting, okay, so the queen is protecting the back rank. And here we get a blunder, which is rook to c2. It looks like a natural move, is attacking this pawn. But now we can threaten to either back rank or win the rook. So we can play queen d3. So queen d3 threatens to play rook d8. Correct. So having that in mind, queen retreats. It goes to f8, and now we still play this move, rook to d8. There is an interposition of the knight, and now we can take this rook. This is white to move and win. Pawns are going this way, and we have to stop the promotion of these two pawns, at least one of them, and then get into a queen endgame. So one of these two checks doesn't work, just because the geometry of chess is going to allow us to win the queen at the end of these two promotions. Once we promote the pawn, and then one of these pawns is gonna promote. It requires a bit of imagination. So let me show you why. The first move, knight to f4. Knight to f4 doesn't work because, okay, the king has to move. Now we capture this pawn. King captures back. And then let's say that we mirror. We get out of the way. We go to king d7. And then we get this promotion, the promotion of the queen. And this is a draw, a completely draw. So what about the other option, which is even worse? Let's say that we put our king in front of this promotion, and it's still a draw. So nothing to worry about there, but it's still a draw. So what is the variation that actually works? The knight has to go to d4. So the king moves. We take this pawn on f3, and now this one we can move the king away. This is also an important step. Where do you move the king? Because here you are interrupting the path of the queen to travel and to give a check. So you have to move it to the right square. If you move it to the d file, you're getting into the promotion of the queen. So yeah, you have to move the king to f8. That is a very important step. Now, once this happens, promotion and promotion of the black queen, now you have an skewer. So yeah, at the end of this promotion, you have an alignment of these pieces, right? So the king has to move, and then we get the queen. Okay, so this is black to play, and we're gonna find a hard to see move, a brilliant C. There are two pieces on this rank, two white pieces, but actually defending this rank, there is only one piece, the queen. I don't know if we can really count the king and the rook. And if we look at the possibilities of black, we can target this 1, 2, 3, and 4 times. We can target this rank 4 times. So we can start with a shocker, which is rook takes on d3. It's like, what? What is that doing? We can just take the rook. Yes, but now you can force the queen to move by giving a check on g3, taking the knight. And yeah, the king, this cannot be moved because you just lose the king and the queen. And so, okay, we're gonna just take the queen. We can give a check here, forking these two pieces. the king has to be moved. But if you move, now you just take the queen. The other option is, okay, I'm gonna take the knight. Okay, so now we take the queen and we have a winning position with black. As these pawns are weak, and even if you start defending, it's gonna be difficult for white to defend. So before we even make a move, this is black to move and win. We want to identify which pieces are already in collinearity or in align with each other. So potentially we have the queen and the rook, and our black rook in alignment with this rook. So we might have some discovery checks there. And we're gonna use the geometry of the queen. As you might have seen in one previous video, there is a triangle shape here. So we can start attacking the rook. We play queen h4. This queen has to move. The rook has to move. Otherwise we lost. It cannot really be moved. Otherwise I can just promote. So it has to take the pawn. Now I can give a check. I can give a check here and rook defense. So again, I'm gonna use the geometry. It's like almost a zigzag pattern or a triangle pattern. I give a check here. So the only move in the position is to protect with the queen. Okay, so now I can just take the queen. I just take the queen. King takes back. And now I have a discover attack. So that was the collinearity that we were looking for that wins the game. So this is almost like a fossil, as Hikaru would say. The king has to move, and now we win the rook. So in this position, white plays rook b4, which is a huge blunder. So let's analyze this position. The first thing is the back rank. We have this battery of the queen and rook attacking the back rank. The second, we have an alignment here. We can maybe target this rook, and it is in perfect alignment with our rook on a8. So yeah, there's like a double battery there. So after we take this pawn with the rook on a3, there is no good responses for white. Let's say, okay, I'm just gonna take the pawn with the pawn. So I can give a check here on the back rank, and if white tries to defend, I can give the skewer here, and yeah, this is just completely lost. The second, okay, I can take maybe with the rook. It doesn't work either. So I can just simply go to the back rank here, and this is mate as well. So the best response for white is to resign. You resign on the spot because there's nothing you can really do. And yeah, this is a brilliant position. And if you decide to do nothing, let's say, what if we take with the queen? Same thing here, right? Same thing, we can just take here. When I saw this one, it blew my mind. So I'm gonna show you some variations that don't really work, but they show a purpose. Okay, so we get first bishop takes on a5. Okay, with the idea of taking this knight. So here the best move in the position is to mount an attack with a battery on the back rank. Okay, we're gonna target the back rank. So in the position bishop takes, but let's explore what was the best move for white. The best move for white was to do something, some counter attack on the back rank. So this move, rook e1, works because now you cannot take this bishop. If you take, now I can take this rook and I cannot take back because now I get a better position with white. I give this check, only defensive move. And yeah, this bishop is gonna be passive. This knight is hanging. So it doesn't look good. What really happened in the game was bishop takes. So bishop takes on b4. And now let's say I take. Yeah, this is just, this is, anything is winning for black, pretty much anything. I take here, and then if I take back with the queen, then I can take twice this rook. And now, yeah, this is just completely winning for black, as I am up the exchange. That is not even what happened in the game. So I'm gonna go back here to, okay, I don't have to take this bishop. I can ignore it and take this knight first. So they were like, okay, I'm gonna take this bishop. It's hanging, right? Okay, I can keep ignoring that and give a check here. So once the queen takes, I can take this pawn. Yeah, that's just nasty, because if I take this queen, I can give a check here, and there is nothing stopping checkmate. So yeah, this is crazy, but it was the back rank problems. This is also a fascinating example. Check it out. So if I can only put my queen here, it will be a checkmate, right? And the first thing I would do is get more pieces into the attack. So maybe I can just play directly, let's say queen to f7, but the king has an escape, and yeah, I don't see the continuation, so maybe the knight can take. Then maybe we can trade rooks. That is the first thing sometimes we look for. Okay, I'm just gonna trade pieces, or even something like e3. I'm going to let my piece to be taken. But a third option, which is the hard to see move, is I'm going to put my rook on this file. It's almost like a type of interference where I am threatening to checkmate now on h7. So rook has to take. And once that happens, now I can play queen takes on f6. So that forces mate, right? That forces mate because now I can take this knight. I can take this rook with the knight, and once the bishop takes, this is checkmate. So yeah, this is a hard to see move where I don't go all the way down, all the way to the piece, but I'm getting as close as possible. And if you were wondering, like, okay, if we take with the bishop, this is checkmate. So yeah, this is a different way of thinking about the geometry of chess. You get to the piece as close as possible, interrupting the communication of these pieces. Also here we have a problem of these three pieces that look very nice on the back rank, but are disconnected by the bishop, right?